All right, so I wanted to start things off with walking through like a landing page or a microsite or kind of the introduction where people will go to learn about your programming and actually begin their applications. Now, I pulled an example client of ours, the Austin Chamber of Commerce. This is their A-list awards. And as you can see here, this actually isn't a Reviewr web page. This is the Austin Chamber of Commerce's website. And the reason why I pulled this up, however, is that this is a very common workflow with how organizations will link from their web presence over to the Reviewr platform, whether or not that's your scholarships or your grants, your recognition awards. Now, some of our clients do have kind of a private program where there is no public web presence. That's totally fine. You can ignore this entire section and focus more on like the data collection and the application side of things. It could be a password protected page. It could live on your databases, right? However you give people that link and get it into the form, that's up to you. This kind of is for those that have like a public presence and marketing of the program. So again, this kind of web concept is a very common application workflow of how people will transition from their website over to Reviewr. So what we're looking at is their website, and on here they have a whole bunch of information about the programming. So dates, deadlines, eligibility, some of the different categories that you can apply for, sponsors, things like that. What you will see here, however, is a big button that says click here to apply. It could be click here to submit, click here to nominate, whatever the verbiage you want. And then that link is what transitions from their web presence over to Reviewr. Now, where you send them is completely up to you. I'm going to walk you through kind of both different models as well as kind of dive deeper into the application side of things. But the reason why I say that is that a lot of our clients will have information here, and then they use what we call a microsite or a landing page powered by Reviewr. And it's a good opportunity to reiterate dates and deadlines, eligibility. Quite frankly, people don't read, so all the really important details on your website that people are skipping over, those microsites serve as like another opportunity to kind of introduce that type of concept. Again, can't guarantee they're going to read it, but it does offer that ability. It's also a nice middleman between your web presence and then the Reviewr portal. With that said, some people may find it a bit redundant because they already have, as you can see here, dates and deadlines. So why would you do it again on a microsite? So in that example, they kind of bypass that completely and they link right to the application or kind of the profile creation page. So let's take a look at that. So this is an example of a kind of an out of the box, what a microsite or a landing page may look like powered by Reviewr. So Reviewr is a very simple platform to use. It's intended to be very simple. It's meant for non-technical minded people to be able to power. So information that goes into Reviewr powers this page. It's like a wiki editor. So all the content you see here was content put into our platform, and then in real time, it powers this website. But you're able to put in, descriptions and rules and downloadable material, basically information you want your audience to see before actually beginning the application form. As I mentioned, if you do find that a bit redundant and instead you'd rather go right to the account creation page or the submission process, that's totally fine. Instead, you actually link to a page very similar to this. Now, I'm going to pause here because this is a very powerful element within Reviewr, and this is the profile creation page. And the reason why this is powerful is Reviewr is a profile-centric company. So if you think through like a typical application process, be that scholarships, grants, nomination forms, nominee forms, conference call for abstracts, you name it, there's a ton of moving parts. You have obviously the application form, but then within there you have all the supporting material, the documents, the file uploads, the spreadsheets, the PDFs, the photos, the videos. You might be collecting external documents as well, so things like transcripts or reference letters. And then on top of that, there's also going to be at some point communication that goes on. There's going to be judging and selection processes. And for a lot of our clients, the application process doesn't necessarily end right away. Sometimes those that do get selected actually come back into the platform and they submit some additional deliverables or some additional documents. They might answer some questions, they might edit their information, or those that don't get selected might actually come back into Reviewr and receive communication and feedback on why. So the reason why I bring this up is that all kind of goes back to the concept of a profile, which takes all those different elements and those different activities that I just mentioned, and it aggregates them into one centralized place. So no longer are you collecting submissions through email or through documents or through forms, and then doing communication through either written messaging or email, and then having file uploads being sent to you here and back and forth, and spreadsheets and Dropbox links, you name it. Every one of those elements gets centralized into one very simple spot. Now, on the front end, that starts with an application, but kind of bigger picture is going to hold on to the entire what I call life cycle of the applicant. So let's kind of take a look.